Hey guys, how's it going? I'm Dave Lee from Dave Lee's English, and we're going through the final part of Pronuncia Plus, putting together everything you've learned and personalizing it just for you so that you can communicate with native English speakers. So let's get into today's lesson. It begins with the line, and I'm going to break it down word for word. Here's my story in a nutshell. Here's my story in a nutshell. What does that mean, in a nutshell? In pocas palabras, in a few words. Literally, a nutshell is a casca de nós. So kind of a strange expression, but it's a very common expression. Like, here's my story in a nutshell. I was born in Memphis, Tennessee, in the U.S., but I now live in Brazil. And continuing. I have one brother and two sisters, and I'm married with one son. Okay, that's what we'll go over today. Let's look at the big board. So, here's my story. Notice that the sto syllable is very strong in the sentence. So here's my story in, and when you connect story and in, this Y just appears out of nowhere. We talked about that in linking. So don't worry if you hear yourself saying story in and you hear a little Y sound. Story in a nutshell. And also with linking, the in from the word in jumps over to connect to the vowel A, so it sounds like na. This is my story in a nutshell. Na, in a nutshell. And the word nut, the syllable nut, is also strong. So again, here's my story in a nutshell. And this is where we're getting to the part where you can really personalize it for yourself. I was born in Memphis, Tennessee. Let's just go with that part. I was born in Memphis, Tennessee. The born and in connect. I was born in Memphis, Tennessee. Well, of course, you weren't born in Memphis, Tennessee. So all you have to do is replace Memphis, Tennessee with where you were born. And let's keep going, and I'll fill in the details. I was born in Memphis, Tennessee, in the U.S., but now I live in Brazil. And the V, again, I've been crossing out the E. I didn't cross it out this time. You may be used to it by now. So I live in Brazil. So how can you personalize this for yourself? Obviously, just take out Memphis, Tennessee and put where you were born. For instance, my wife would say, I was born in Uberlândia, Minas Gerais. And could leave out in the U.S. or in Brazil, because it's probably going to be pretty obvious that that's the case. So she would say, I was born in Uberlândia, Minas Gerais, but now I live in Brasilia. Something like that. Or now I live in Brasilia, the capital of Brazil. And you can fill in the blanks however you want. So we've added a pink line. We already had red and blue and green, but now we have the pink. That's the lines you can actually fill in yourself. You can make this your own story, and that's what I want it to be. I want it to be something you can rehearse over and over, and then when someone asks you, tell me about yourself, you don't get nervous. You don't think, oh no, what am I going to say? You know, a good way to start is where you were born. I was born, and in my case, I was born in Memphis, Tennessee in the U.S., but now I live in Brazil. And then the next thing you probably want to talk about is your family. Here's a short example. I have one brother and two sisters, and I'm married with one son. So I have one brother. The one is a really strong syllable here. I have one brother, and if I put a comma here, I wouldn't connect the R with the and, but I didn't. So I have one brother and two sisters. So, actually, in addition to the linking of the R and the A here, probably going to eliminate this D. So, I have one brother and two sisters. You don't really hear a D when I say that at a regular speed. And that's how you want to say it. I have one brother and two sisters. Or however many brothers and sisters you have. I have 3 brothers and no sisters. Or I just have 3 brothers. If you don't have any brothers and sisters, what you say is, I'm an only child. I'm an only child. That means no brothers, no sisters. So, and I'm married with one son. So, and I'm married with one son. So, this time we don't eliminate the D from and because it wants to connect to the I. And I'm married, and I'm married. And these 2 M's, since one ends with an M and the next one begins with an M, it's like there's only one M there. And I'm married, and I'm married. So, and I'm married with one son. Okay, so if you're married, you say, and I'm married. If you're not married, you say, and I'm single. That means you're not married. Or if you have a fiance, someone you're going to be married but you're not married yet, you could say, I have a fiance, or you could say, I'm engaged. I'm engaged is a very common way to say that. So, with one son, if you have a boy child, you have one son. Of course, if you have more than one, you say 2 sons, 3 sons. And if you have a girl child, you say, I have one daughter, or I have 2 daughters, however many you have. So you could say, I have one son and 2 daughters, or whatever fits your description. So let me go through this whole thing quickly at normal speed here. And remember, you can take this whole dialogue so far and leave these words out. Memphis, Tennessee, the U.S., Brazil, probably know you live in Brazil. One brother, 2 sisters, married, and one son. Leave all that out unless it applies to you, and then fill it in with whatever you want to. And you can write this out. It will help you remember if you write it down physically. You can type it into a computer, laptop, notebook, cell phone. That's great, but it really helps you remember even better if you write it with your own hand. So, here we go. Here's my story in a nutshell. I was born in Memphis, Tennessee, in the U.S., but now I live in Brazil. I have one brother and 2 sisters, and I'm married with one son. So that tells where you're from, tells about your family. And next time we'll get into what you do for a living and what you like to do for fun. So be sure to join us next time. Thanks for watching. God bless you, and we'll see you again.